Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling empty, regretting words that slipped out too quickly? Or noticed how, in a heated moment, your rush to speak only made things worse, stirring conflict, revealing weakness, or pushing people away? That quiet ache of realizing you talked too much while missing what really mattered around you. It's a common frustration that leaves us feeling out of control and disconnected. If this resonates with you, hit that like button right now. It helps spread this timeless wisdom. And subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you never miss guidance on living with real strength through Stoicism. Number 1. The ancient Stoic wisdom on silence. The Stoics understood silence as a path to true power long before our noisy world existed. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, pointed out a simple truth from nature. We have 2 ears and only 1 mouth. This design reminds us to listen twice as much as we speak. When we ignore it and fill every moment with words, we lose touch with reason. Silence allows us to align with the natural order. It builds discipline that carries into every part of life. By choosing quiet, we honor the body's wisdom and step toward inner freedom. Epictetus taught that silence should be our general rule. He advised speaking only what is necessary, and even then, in few words. Most chatter about trivial things like sports, food, or gossip wastes energy and pulls us from virtue. Observe how often conversations drift into blame or praise of others. These habits stir unnecessary emotions. Silence protects our peace. It keeps us from judgments that disturb the soul. In quiet, we find clarity that endless talking never brings. Marcus Aurelius, ruling an empire amid chaos, retreated into silence daily. He reminded himself to speak kindly, modestly, and sincerely, or not at all. Words rushed out often carry hidden flaws like anger or pride. Silence gives space to examine them first. It turns speech into something deliberate and true. When we observe more, we see people's real motives. This insight guides better choices. Silence becomes a daily practice for living with integrity. Seneca warned that loose talk scatters the mind like wind scatters leaves. He urged brevity because life is short, and words should serve truth, not vanity. Many speak to feel important or heard, but this need comes from inner unrest. Silence calms that storm. It lets us watch thoughts arise and pass without acting on them. Over time, this builds a steady character. We speak less, but what we say carries real weight. The Stoics saw silence not as emptiness, but as strength. In a world full of noise, choosing quiet stands out as self-mastery. It prevents regrets from hasty words. It opens the door to deeper understanding. Observe nature. The strongest forces, like deep rivers, move silently. Talk less, and your presence grows stronger. Others sense the calm you carry. This timeless practice turns ordinary moments into opportunities for growth. Apply this wisdom today by pausing before speaking. Ask, is this necessary? Does it improve the silence? The Stoics knew most words add nothing. By observing more, we gather knowledge quietly. This habit shapes a life of purpose. Silence isn't withdrawal, it's active control. Embrace it and feel the peace that comes from restraint. Number 2, how talking less protects your inner peace. Words rushed out in emotion often wound us most. Anger, fear, or excitement pushes us to speak without thought. Later, regret follows like a shadow. Talking less shields our inner peace from these storms. Silence gives time to let feelings settle. We respond with reason, not reaction. This simple choice keeps disturbances outside our control from entering the soul. Observe how much chatter comes from ego. We talk to prove we're right, smart, or noticed. But this ties peace to others' approval, something we can't control. Silence breaks that chain. It turns focus inward. We watch our urges to speak arise. In that observation, freedom grows. no longer slaves to the need to be heard. We find calm that depends on nothing external. Epictetus said the best answer to anger is silence. When provoked, words fuel the fire. Quiet stars it. By observing the situation, we see it's often not about us. People act from their own pain. Silence preserves our energy for what matters. It prevents small conflicts from stealing our tranquility. This practice builds resilience over time. In daily life, noise surrounds us, conversations, opinions, demands. Adding our voice multiplies the chaos. Talking less creates space for reflection. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself in silence amid wars and duties. That quiet kept his mind clear. We can do the same. Observe more, and worries lose their grip. Peace isn't found in explaining everything. It's in letting much go unsaid. Silence also guards against gossip and judgment. These habits disturb the mind long after spoken. They breed resentment or envy. By choosing quiet, we avoid that poison. Observation reveals how others' words often say more about them. This understanding brings compassion without needing to comment. Inner peace deepens when we stop feeding drama with our speech. Start small. In one conversation today, speak half as much. Listen fully. Observe body language, tones, unspoken truths. You'll feel lighter, more in control. Talking less isn't suppression, it's protection. The Stoics' new peace comes from within, guarded by wise restraint. Make silence your ally, and watch disturbances fade. Number 3. The power of observation in building wisdom. Observation sharpens wisdom like nothing else. When we talk less, our senses open. We notice details missed in the rush to speak. Faces reveal emotions words hide. Situations show patterns over time. This quiet watching gathers truth without bias. Wisdom grows from seeing clearly, not from voicing opinions. Zeno taught, listening more than speaking because knowledge enters through ears. Talkers focus on their next words, missing what's said. Observers absorb fully. They learn motives, strengths, weaknesses. In silence, the world teaches directly. No filters of ego distort the lesson. This direct insight builds practical understanding for life's challenges. Marcus Aurelius observed human nature deeply in his meditations. He saw how people act from ignorance or pain. This view brought patience and clarity. By talking less, we do the same. We spot opportunities others overlook. We avoid traps set by hasty assumptions. Observation turns experience into real growth. Seneca noted that silence lets us hear our own thoughts clearly. Inner chatter quiets when we don't feed it outwardly. We observe impulses rise and fall. This self-knowledge is the root of wisdom. It shows where we err, where we can improve. Talking drowns this voice. Quiet amplifies it, guiding better choices. In relationships, observation reveals depths. People share more when we listen without interrupting. Their words, pauses, expressions paint the full picture. We understand needs unspoken. This builds trust and connection. Wisdom here means knowing when to act or not. Silence makes us better friends, leaders, partners. Practice observation daily. Sit quietly, watch your surroundings. Notice thoughts without judging. Extend this to people. Talk less, see more. The Stoics built empires of the mind this way. Wisdom isn't in knowing everything. It's in perceiving truly. Embrace quiet observation, and life becomes your greatest teacher. Number 4, silence as a tool for self-control and strength. Self-control begins with the tongue. Epictetus said speech is under our power. Choose it wisely. Many impulses drive us to talk. Fear, pride, boredom. Observing them without acting builds mastery. Silence trains us to pause. That pause extends to actions, emotions, habits. One restraint strengthens all. In moments of temptation, anger, flattery, complaint, silence tests our will. Speaking gives and easily. Quiet holds the line. Over time, this forges unbreakable discipline. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal and war, yet stayed composed. His silence in journals shows the strength earned. We gain the same by choosing words carefully. Talking less reveals true strength. The loud seek attention from weakness. The quiet command respect naturally. Others lean in when you speak rarely. Your words hit harder. Observation adds depth. You know when silence speaks louder. This controlled presence influences without force. Seneca saw excess speech as vice, like overeating. It scatters focus, invites error. Restraint here mirrors temperance in all things. Silence conserves energy for what matters. We observe our limits, respect them. This balanced life feels strong, not strained. Self-control flows from such habits. Modern noise makes silence rare and powerful. Choosing it stands against impulse. It shows you're not ruled by urges. In meetings, arguments, crowds, quiet observation sets you apart. Strength isn't in dominating talk. It's in deciding when to engage. The Stoics proved this in hardest trials. Build this today. Next urge to speak unnecessarily, pause and observe it. Let it pass. Feel the control grow. Silence isn't weakness. It's the foundation of real power. Master your words and you master yourself. The Stoics walked this path to unshakable strength. Number 5, practical ways to talk less and observe more in daily life. Start with awareness. Notice how often you speak to fill silence. Most times it's habit, not need. Observe conversations today. Count your words versus listening. This simple watch reveals patterns. Change begins with seeing clearly. Talking less follows naturally. In talks, aim to listen fully. Don't plan replies while others speak. Observe their words, tone, eyes. Ask questions to draw them out. People feel heard, share deeper. You learn more without effort. This shifts focus from self to understanding. Relationships strengthen quietly. When tempted to interrupt or boast, pause. Breathe. Ask, does this add value? If not, stay silent. Epictetus avoided banal topics. Do the same. Observe how quiet feels at first awkward, then freeing. Practice in small moments builds the habit. Alone, observe thoughts without voicing them. Journal briefly if needed, but mostly watch. See urges come and go. This inner silence carries outward. In crowds, watch dynamics play out. You spot truths others miss in chatter. Wisdom and calm grow from this. Set rules. Speak only if it improves silence. Turn talks to useful subjects if possible. Among strangers, quiet is safe. Marcus Aurelius lived this amid court intrigue. Applied at work, home, online. Less talk means fewer regrets, more insight. End each day reviewing. Where did I talk too much? Where could I have observed more? Adjust tomorrow. This practical Stoic way transforms life. Talk less, observe deeply, and watch peace, wisdom, strength unfold. It's timeless, simple, profound. Start now, one quiet moment at a time. Number 6, how silence helps you understand people better. Most of us think we know others because we hear their words. But words often hide more than they reveal. People speak to impress, defend, or avoid pain. When you talk less and observe more, you see beyond the surface. You notice small shifts in eyes, voice, posture. These quiet signals tell the real story. Silence opens this deeper understanding. Epictetus reminded us that people act according to their own judgments, not ours. Their words come from inner beliefs we cannot see. By staying quiet, you watch how they respond to life. You learn their fears, values, habits. This knowledge brings patience. You stop taking things personally. Relationships grow stronger on truth, not assumptions. In every interaction, the one who speaks least often learns most. The talker shares known thoughts. The listener gathers new ones. Observe how someone treats others when they think no one watches. Notice patterns in complaints or praise. These reveal character clearly. Silence turns you into a quiet student of human nature. Marcus Aurelius dealt with flatterers and enemies daily. He observed their motives without reacting. This protected him from manipulation. When you talk less, people relax and show themselves. They speak freely because you offer no judgment. Over time, you see who is reliable, who is fragile. This insight guides every bond. Silence also shows you your own projections. We often hear what we expect, not what is said. Quiet observation clears that filter. You notice when you want to interrupt with your story. Letting it pass reveals your needs. Understanding others begins with understanding self. Both grow together in stillness. Practice this today. In your next conversation, speak only when asked. Watch everything else. Feel how much more you learn. The Stoics knew real connection comes from seeing clearly, not from filling air with words. Observe more, judge less, and people will trust you deeply. Number 7. Talking less prevents regret and builds character. Regret almost always follows words spoken too soon. A sharp reply, a careless secret, an empty promise. These haunt us long after. Silence gives space to choose better. It stops impulses before they become wounds. By observing first, you act with intention. Regret fades when restraint leads. Seneca wrote that we regret speech more than silence. Words cannot be taken back. They spread, change meaning, return distorted. Quiet observation keeps you safe from this chain. You watch situations unfold. You see outcomes before adding fuel. Character strengthens in these pauses. Every unnecessary word risks error. Boasting invites envy. Complaining invites pity. Defending invites attack. The Stoics chose silence to avoid these traps. They built lives free from self-made trouble. Observe how quiet people carry fewer burdens. Their past holds fewer apologies. Talking less trains honesty with yourself. When you rush to speak, you often hide weakness. Silence forces you to face it. You observe your urge to impress or complain. Letting it pass builds real strength. Character grows when actions match inner truth, not loud defense. In difficult moments, silence prevents escalation. A harsh word turns disagreement into war. Quiet observation cools the heat. You see the other side clearly. Later, if words are needed, they come measured and kind. This habit turns potential regret into quiet pride. Begin now. Remember one past regret from speaking. Let it teach you. Next time the urge rises, pause and watch it. Feel the freedom in restraint. The Stoics forged unbreakable character this way. Talk less, live cleaner, and regret will rarely visit. Number 8. Silence in a noisy world, standing apart with quiet strength. Today's world rewards noise. Everyone shouts opinions, stories, reactions. In this flood, silence becomes rare power. When you talk less, you stand apart naturally. People notice the calm you carry. They lean closer when you finally speak. Quiet strength commands without effort. Social media trains us to perform constantly. Likes come from quick words, not deep thought. But real respect grows from restraint. The Stoics lived simply amid crowds, yet influenced deeply. Their quiet presence spoke louder than speeches. Observation kept them grounded. In groups, the loudest often lead briefly. The quiet observer sees true dynamics. Who influences without speaking? Who speaks from insecurity? This knowledge brings steady influence. You guide by example, not volume. Strength shows in what you choose not to say. Noise exhausts. Endless talk drains energy, focus, peace. Silence restores. By observing more, you protect your vitality. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet found time for inner quiet. In our age of alerts and arguments, this choice is rebellion and renewal. People trust the quiet more than the loud. Words flow easily from many mouths. Restraint signals depth. When you speak rarely, others listen fully. Your calm invites theirs. In chaos, Your silence becomes an anchor for everyone around. Choose one noisy space today: meeting, feed, family chat, and practice quiet. Observe without adding voice. Feel how your presence grows. The Stoics stood tall in louder times than ours. Talk less in this noisy world, and your quiet strength will shine. Number 9. Observation sharpens decision-making and avoids mistakes. Good decisions come from clear sight, not quick words. Talking fills time, but clouds judgment. Silence lets you gather facts quietly. You see risks, opportunities, motives. By observing more, choices rest on reality, not reaction. Epictetus taught control over impressions before speech. Rush to talk, and impressions stay raw. Pause to observe, and truth emerges. You notice patterns others miss in debate. Decisions made in quiet carry lasting wisdom. Many mistakes begin with speaking too soon. Agreements made in excitement. Judgments voiced in anger. Commitments given to fill silence. The quiet observer waits. Watches outcomes unfold. Acts only when the path is clear. Fewer errors follow. In work and life, information flows to listeners. Talkers share what they know. Observers collect what others know. This wider view guides better moves. Seneca advised brevity because scattered words scatter thought. Focused silence sharpens the mind. Even in solitude, observation matters. Watch your own thoughts before voicing plans. See fears or wishes coloring them. Quiet self-study prevents self-deception. Decisions rooted in honest observation rarely fail you later. Next choice you face, delay words. Observe all sides. Ask questions if needed, then stay quiet longer. Feel clarity grow. The Stoics navigated empires and hardships this way. Talk less, see more, and your decisions will stand strong. Number 10. Silence as a path to deeper inner growth. Outer silence opens the door to inner depth. When words stop, thoughts slow, you begin to observe your mind clearly. Urges, memories, fears arise and pass. This quiet watching is the heart of Stoic growth. Peace waits beyond the chatter. Marcus Aurelius wrote his deepest truths in private silence. No audience, no defense, just honest observation. This practice stripped away illusion. He saw life as it is. You can do the same. Talk less outwardly, and the inner voice grows clearer. Most noise begins inside. We speak to quiet, restless thoughts, but words only feed them. Silence starves distraction. Observation reveals what truly matters. Virtues strengthen when not drowned in trivial talk. Seneca called silence a shelter for the mind. In it, you meet yourself without mask. Flaws appear gently. Strengths stand out. Growth happens not in argument, but in quiet acceptance. The path to wisdom runs through stillness. Daily silence builds a steady soul. Short moments add up. Waiting, walking, breathing without words. Observe sensations, thoughts, world. No need to name everything. This practice deepens presence. Life feels richer, less rushed. Set aside 10 minutes today for pure silence. Sit, watch, listen inwardly. Let thoughts come and go. Feel the space grow. The Stoics found their deepest strength here. Talk less, observe within, and true growth will unfold quietly, day by day. As we come to the end of this journey into Stoic silence, take a quiet moment to reflect. Everything we've explored, from the ancient wisdom of Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius to the practical power of observation in daily life, points to one timeless truth. Real strength is not found in the volume of our words, but in the depth of our restraint. Talking less does not diminish you. It elevates you. It protects your peace, sharpens your mind, deepens your understanding, and builds a character that cannot be shaken by the noise of the world. In a time when everyone rushes to speak, to react, to be heard, choosing silence is an act of quiet rebellion. It is a return to what is natural and wise. When you observe more, you see life clearly. People as they are, situations as they unfold, yourself without illusion. You stop wasting energy on what cannot be controlled and focus only on what truly matters. Your reason, your virtue, your inner calm. This is the Stoic path. Simple, difficult, and profoundly freeing. Now, the choice is yours, and it begins today. In your next conversation, pause. Listen fully. Speak only when it serves truth or kindness. Notice how the world opens up when you step back. Notice how lighter you feel without the weight of unnecessary words. This is not about becoming silent forever. It is about becoming intentional. One moment of restraint at a time, you build a life of greater wisdom, peace, and strength. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of Stoic silence. If these words have moved you, take a second to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you stay connected to this path. In the comments below, share one situation this week where you will choose to talk less and observe more. Let's hold each other accountable. Stay calm, stay strong, and remember, the quiet mind changes everything.